Perseus was late and dropped Medusa's head in the ocean. Intro, we all know the punchline, right? The hero rides in, the monster bites the dust, the princess gets saved, and then cue the credits. It's a tale as old as time, a classic formula that just works. But what if the curtain dropped a little too early? What if our hero, bless his winged sandals, just missed his cue? Imagine that for a second. Huck. Picture the cliff at Joppa. The salt wind isn't just blowing. It's screaming a banshee wail against the sheer rock face. Chains clink empty now against the rough stone, and the tide, relentless and uncaring, is slowly, steadily blotting out footprints that end nowhere. It's a scene of bleak, desolate beauty. Then Perseus skids in. His cape is shredded, his sandals slick with sea spray, his heart pounding a frantic rhythm against his ribs. He's just in time to watch the very last bubble rise from Andromeda's lungs. No triumphant cheer erupts from the shore. No celebratory wedding bells chime in the distance. Just a hero standing ankle deep in someone else's happily ever after, the chill of the ocean seeping into his bones. And in the numb, crushing silence that follows, a silence far heavier than any roar, his grip slackens. The still twitching, snake-haired head of Medusa, that ultimate weapon, slips from his fingers. It cartwheels once, a grotesque final dance, kisses the churning foam of the waves, and then, with a soft, chilling plop, vanishes beneath the surface. Game over? Not quite. Game changed. Because today, we're not here to retell a victory lap. Oh, no. We're tracing the ripples, the far-reaching, agonizing consequences of a single, horrible second when everything stone-solid turned to saltwater dot. It's a story of what happens when heroism is just a breath too late. Section 1, the myth you thought you knew. Let's rewind 5 minutes, shall we? Back to the myth we all learned, the one that always felt so neat. The classic script goes something like this. Cassiopeia, Andromeda's mom, a woman whose boasts were as grand as her royal lineage, brags that her daughter outshines even the Nereids. You know, those lovely sea nymphs. Bad move, Cassiopeia. Poseidon, never one to let a slight go unpunished, loans a rather unpleasant sea monster named Satis as cosmic overcorrection. The oracle, ever so helpful, decrees, chain the girl to a rock, problem solved. Or at least problem contained. Enter Perseus, our dashing hero, fresh from a rather successful decapitation of Medusa. He's using Hermes' winged boots like a divine Uber, probably checking his celestial GPS for the fastest route. One flash of that snake-haired noggin, and Cetus becomes a seaside statue, a rather impressive, albeit monstrous, garden ornament. Andromeda, understandably relieved, says thanks. The family approves the marriage, constellations get named, everyone lives happily ever after. Tidy. So very tidy. But myths, you know, they love to wink at us while they hold a straight face. Ovid, the poet, he never promises a stopwatch on these heroic deeds. Hesiod doesn't stamp an ETA on heroic arrivals. So, the crack in that perfect timeline? It was always there, wasn't it? Just waiting for a single plausible delay to split the whole thing wide open. Section 2.1, delay too many. Here's the glitch, the little snag that nobody ever bothered to carve into marble. Perseus's detour, and it was quite the detour. While winging his way above Libya, probably admiring the view, he spots the mighty Titan Atlas, shouldering the entire sky. And Perseus thinks, hey, quick photo op, can't pass up a chance to meet a legend, right? Atlas, however, was a cranky landlord of the cosmos, definitely not in the mood for hospitality. Perseus, always one for a dramatic flourish, whips out Medusa's head and turns the mountain man into the world's biggest, most impressive paperweight. Pretty cool party trick, admittedly, but it costs airtime. Precious, irreplaceable airtime. Add a few more minor inconveniences, unexpected headwinds that felt like flying into a brick wall, a snapped strap on the magic wallet that held Medusa's head, a real nuisance that maybe even a nasty sandal blister that slowed his pace ever so slightly. The schedule, once so tight and precise, unravels like cheap thread, leaving him hopelessly behind. By the time he finally reaches Joppa, the monster has already fed. There's no last-second rescue, no triumphant swoop from the sky. Just a grieving king, Cepheus, collapsing in despair, his queen, Cassiopeia, clawing at her own cheeks in an agony of regret, and a corpse-gray horizon where the sun should have been. The crowd on the shore sees the hero land, sees the empty chains swaying mournfully in the wind. And the cheer, the one they'd held onto with desperate hope, dies in every throat. That sound, that absolute, deafening absence of sound, it echoes louder than any roar Cetus ever made. A chilling testament to failure. The kingdom, already reeling from divine retribution, is now plunged into an even deeper, more profound sorrow, a stark reminder of their powerlessness. Section 3, Gravity, takes the head. Perseus's first reaction, as it often is in moments of profound shock, is denial. Maybe, just maybe, if he shows the head again, fate will rewind. But the Gorgon's power, he quickly learns, only writes in stone. It never ever erases. His fingers, numb with shock and despair, open before his mind can even catch up. The head splashes down. A soft, sickening sound in the vast, indifferent ocean. Salt water floods the severed neck veins, instantly diluting the clotting blood, and then, like a perverse transfusion, pumps a cocktail of divine ichor straight into the food chain. Imagine radioactive waste, but with a half-life that lasts until Olympus falls. Every single droplet that touched Medusa's blood in the original myths, think Pegasus sprouting from her neck, coral hardening into intricate structures, Atlas calcifying into a mountain now, seeds an oceanic plague. Stone, as we know, doesn't float. It sinks, it drifts, and it rolls along currents like slow-motion shrapnel, a silent, deadly promise of transformation. Section 4, The Petrified Tides. Within hours, the effects are shockingly visible. Fish, once darting and vibrant, grow stiff as garden statues, frozen mid-swim, their scales dull and lifeless. Seaweed, usually swaying with the gentle rhythm of the ocean, turns to brittle glass, snapping with an eerie crackle under the weight of petrified crabs. Dolphins, those friendly, intelligent smile icons of the sea, freeze mid-leap, forever captured in graceful arcs that look like someone hit pause on a child's mural, a cruel joke played by a vengeful fate. And the curse, like a dark, unstoppable current, keeps traveling. Portuguese man-of-war, those delicate, floating creatures, become living marble mobiles, their tentacles rigid and unyielding, whales behemoths of cartilage and song. The gentle giants of the deep sank like busted submarines, their massive hearts locked mid-beat, their songs silenced forever. Local fishermen venturing out in desperation, haul nets full of stone mackerel, their blades breaking against the rock-hard bodies. their wrists fracturing from the impossible weight. Superstition skyrockets, fear replacing the familiar comfort of the sea. Trade absolutely dead. The vibrant coastal markets, once bustling with the day's catch, are now eerily quiet. Food supply gone, replaced by a horrifying abundance of inedible rock. Entire coastal economies that depend on the sea, on its bounty and its rhythms, now stare at a horizon glittering with the corpses of waves that can't even finish rolling. Historians much later will refer to it simply as the day the ocean turned to graveyard, a chilling, unforgettable name for an unprecedented disaster. Section 5. Divine Finger Pointing. Poseidon, the mighty lord of those very waves, feels the sting first and most acutely. His vast, beautiful realm is choking on supernatural litter, a grotesque mockery of its former glory. He appeals to Zeus, voice booming with indignation. Your demigod brat dropped toxic waste in my backyard. Zeus, ever the chairman of plausible deniability, simply shrugs a bolt of lightning, a non-committal rumble of thunder. Boys will be boys, you can almost hear him mutter. Athena, who once rather proudly glued Medusa's image to her shield for its impressive PR value, now sees her brand diluted, her powerful symbol twisted into an ecological catastrophe. She wants the head recovered, and she wants it now. Hades, always meticulous, wants the souls of the stone sea life catalogued. A new and unexpected addition to his underworld bureaucracy. And Hermes, well, Hermes is predictably volunteered for cleanup duty. Because, let's face it, speed is his thing, and someone has to deliver the bad news to the mortals. But every single godly attempt fails. Touch the head, turn to reef. It's a simple, brutal rule. The net result? An embarrassed pantheon, a furious Uncle Poseidon, and one hero, Perseus, stuck holding the proverbial bag, or rather, the empty space where the bag should have been. The cosmic balance is deeply, irrevocably upset, and even the gods are at a loss. Section 6, Perseus guilt lap late hero doesn't get a heroic montage, you know? There's no soaring music, no slow-motion triumphant return. He gets insomnia, his lips cracked and dry from thirst and worry, and nightmares where Andromeda drowns again every single time he blinks. It's a torment far worse than any monster he ever faced. He tries damage control, a desperate, futile effort, scooping seawater with his mirrored shield, hoping, praying, to lift the head without making eye contact. The shield, however, reflects only his own bloodshot, haunted stare, a stark image of his failure. He considers hurling himself after the Gorgon, a final desperate act of penance, but suicide feels like grandstanding now, a theatrical gesture unworthy of the immense suffering he's caused. Instead, he limps inland, a broken man. Word of his botched rescue precedes him like a foul, ill wind, a dark stain on his once glorious reputation. Villages slam their gates shut as he approaches. Mothers hush their children with dire warnings. Finish your lentils or Perseus will drop another head. A lifetime of monster-slaying credentials, all that hard-won glory, erased by one terrible, unforgivable fumble. He is, to them, not a hero, but a harbinger of doom, a living monument to a tragedy he himself wrought. Section 7. Mortal responses. King Cepheus, broken and furious beyond measure, doesn't just mourn. He declares war on the very concept of heroes. He outlaws winged sandals, offers a hefty bounty for any monster heads, and commissions poets to systematically erase Perseus from every chronicle, every song, every epic. He wants him gone from history. It backfires spectacularly. Bards, always sniffing out a good story, smell drama, tragedy, and a chance for bigger tips. We're telling the sorrowful tale of the late hero and the petrified sea with even more vivid detail. Meanwhile, a new breed of philosopher-scientists, the physiologoi, sail out under wool-shielded boats, their faces grim, to study the bizarre phenomenon of the stonefish. They notice something crucial. The petrification spreads only where seawater dilutes, like ink spreading through water. So they start building massive breakwaters of polished bronze, hoping the reflection will bounce the curse back, a desperate attempt to weaponize light against the darkness. The result? The very first mirror-based sea walls. An unexpected boom in tourism. People love a good disaster, apparently. And souvenir stands selling "I survived the stone-tide pebbles." Tragedy, in its strange, twisted way, becomes marketplace. And marketplace in time becomes myth, a new layer added to the ancient stories. It's a testament to human resilience and perhaps human opportunism. Section 8. The new ecosystem months bleed into years. A freakish, horrifying equilibrium eventually emerges. Algae, tenacious and adaptable, evolve to digest calcium carbonate, finding a new niche in this petrified world. Stone coral polyps, once soft and vibrant, now bud into architectural reefs, rigid and unforgiving. Predators adapt with a chilling ingenuity. Hermit crabs wear hollowed statues of once living creatures as armor, their new shells offering unparalleled protection. Octopuses drag broken dolphin tails like clubs, hunting among the silent stone forests. The sea, stripped of its gods-given softness, its gentle ebb and flow, turns into a spiky, dangerous chessboard where one false look, one moment of carelessness can still end you. Sailors, those brave souls who dare to venture out, report night terrors, moonlit horizons of frozen waves, gulls petrified mid-caw, hanging like ghastly ornaments in the sky. Cartographers, their hands shaking, sketch these cursed areas in black ink and label them ominously, the Gorgon Abyssal. Compasses spin wildly, unable to reconcile the new reality, and new legends, dark and terrifying, sprout from the fear. And somewhere on the ocean floor, Medusa's empty eyes keep scanning, still powerful, still lethal, still waiting. A silent, eternal sentinel of a cosmic mistake. Section 9, could it be undone? Ancient sources, the ones that whisper through the ages, say divine deeds leave fingerprints, deep and indelible, not eraser shavings. Yet every curse, no matter how potent, usually has a loophole. Often it involves blood, often it involves family. Athena, in a rare moment of grudging insight, hints that only the same mortal hand that dropped the head can retrieve it. But Perseus, she implies, must do so blindfolded by his own overwhelming guilt, a penance that cuts deeper than any physical wound. He refuses, and it's not pride, not this time. It's fear. A deep, bone-chilling fear. He's seen what second chances cost, what the price of interfering with destiny truly is. Atlas, forever holding up the crushing weight of the sky. Medusa herself, once fair and beautiful before Poseidon's brutal assault transformed her. Andromeda chained to a rock for someone else's vanity. He understands the profound, irreversible nature of these cosmic forces. Perseus chooses exile over an encore, choosing to live with his failure rather than risk another, potentially even greater catastrophe. The head stays sunk. Some stories say he wanders east, a solitary figure, founding cities out of a restless need to build. Forgetting names, forgetting faces, forever 2 heartbeats behind the beat he needed to keep. Forever haunted. Section 10 lessons carved in salt, so what lingers from this dark alternate tale? What lessons are carved into the very salt of the earth, or rather, the ocean? First, timing absolutely beats strength. A simple sword that arrives on schedule outranks a miracle running even a second late. Punctuality, it turns out, is a heroic virtue. Second, collateral damage in myths is never mathematical. It's profoundly emotional, devastatingly ecological, and often utterly irreversible. The ripples of one mistake can drown an entire world. Third, heroes are only as heroic as their last save. Audiences, human nature being what it is, have notoriously short memories for past triumphs, but incredibly long judgment for present failures. The ocean's slow, agonizing transformation into a cemetery reminds us that even victories have gravity. Drop them wrong, fumble the moment, and they can easily become new monsters, new sources of endless suffering. Maybe that's why ancient poets kept the original ending so tidy, so perfectly wrapped up. We, as humans, need to believe that someone somewhere can arrive right on time, that redemption is always possible. Yet this darker version, the story of what if, feels weirdly, chillingly familiar in a world grappling with missed climate goals, with delayed aid shipments that arrive after the flood, with promises that show up long after they're needed. Late is late, and sorrow, unfortunately, doesn't rewind. It just settles. Conclusion. The next time you skim a heroic tale, the kind with the perfect, happy ending, spare a thought for the cliff edge where chains hang empty. Perseus learned far too late that destiny doesn't pause for headwinds, for snap straps, or for personal errands. And somewhere, deep beneath the sparkling, deceptively calm waves, Medusa's gaze keeps turning hearts to stone, one silent, petrifying splash at a time. If you've got a what-if myth you want explored, something wild and unexpected, drop it in the comments below. The wilder, the better. Like, subscribe, and share because stories, unlike heroes, only truly live when they're passed along, reshaped, and retold.